Hi students, hope you all are doing fine. Okay, so today we'll continue with the chapter electric charge and fields. But before I start the online class or video class, I would like to request all of you to please be very sincere and be interested while seeing the videos. Okay, today for example I will be doing lots of numerical problems, so keep a notebook, pen and EPL on the side and try to note whatever solutions I will be giving you. Okay, and after seeing the video, be creative in asking questions, be creative in thinking that if this is changed what will happen. Okay, so be creative, it's very important. Okay, see, creativity is a way of thinking. So if you are creative in one area, it will help you to be creative in other fields also, like music, poetry, whatever your hobby or passion is, right? So I request all of you to please be sincere and be interested while seeing the videos. So having said that, let us continue with the chapter. Before I start, let us do a slight revision of whatever we did last time. Okay. So last time we saw that if there are 2 point charges Q1, Q2, okay, in vacuum, or you can also include air, okay, then the force between these two charges in magnitude is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1, Q2 divided by R square, and R is the distance between the charges. Okay, this epsilon naught was called permittivity of vacuum, whichever medium is present here. Okay, permittivity of vacuum. Okay, then I told you if the entire space, okay, is filled with another medium, not vacuum, then we write the formula in medium as 1 by 4 pi epsilon, we write, not epsilon naught, Q1 Q2 divided by R square. Okay, and this epsilon is called permittivity of whichever medium is present. And if you divide permittivity of the medium by permittivity of vacuum, we call that relative permittivity. Relative permittivity of the medium. In next chapter, we will also call it a dielectric constant, and we write the symbol K. Dielectric constant. Okay, dielectric word actually means insulating. Okay, insulating material. Now, some students has been asking me, Kirti for example, he has posted in the comment in yesterday's video that what if sir this charge is in one medium and this charge is in another medium. Likewise, somebody has asked me what if the whole space is not filled with one medium. Let us say I have Q1 here and Q2 here. Okay, what if there is medium only in this much part? Okay, so those topics are actually little complex. Okay, you can see research papers on this, lot of technicalities are there, and it is not a straightforward answer. However, the good news is when the space is completely filled with a medium, then we have a very simple formula. You just replace epsilon naught by epsilon. But when such situations are given, or the situation which Kirti is asking, then the solution becomes very, very complicated. However, at the end of the video, I would like to explain to you why, what we can do and why this epsilon is there. And today I will also address the question which was also asked by one of my students, saying why capital G, the gravitational constant, does not depend on medium, but this constant, here we write K, right? So this constant actually depends on the medium. So all those questions we will be dealing with in the last part of the video. Okay, fine. So having said that, let us continue now. So using this formula, we can define 1 coulomb. Okay, and that is asked in board exams also. So they will ask, define 1 coulomb of charge. So definition of 1 coulomb of charge. Okay, so how do we define this? Very simple. See, we know the force between two charges in vacuum is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 divided by r square. And these two are point charges at rest. Let us say that q1 and q2 both be equal to 1 coulomb. And let's say the distance between them is 1 meter. Then what will be your F equals to? This is 1, this is 1, this is also 1. So what is left? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. And the value of this, as I have discussed in the previous video, is 9 into 10 to the power 9. And since the left side is force, it must be Newton. So using this, we can define 1 coulomb. So what is 1 coulomb? 1 coulomb is that charge which, when separated from another identical charge by 1 meter in vacuum, then they exert a force of repulsion whose magnitude is 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. So you can see the definition in the notes, okay, given in the EPL. So let me repeat, 1 coulomb. So if I have two charges which are 1 coulomb, that means it is identical charge. And if I say it is separated by 1 meter in vacuum, because I am writing epsilon naught, then they will repel each other with this much force. So that you have to mention. So that would be the definition of 1 coulomb, which you have to write in your exam if it is asked. Okay, fine. So let us repeat just once. Okay, 1 coulomb is that charge which, when separated from another identical charge by 1 meter in vacuum, will repel each other with a force whose magnitude is 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. So this way we can define 1 coulomb. Now, last class or last video class, we have started the numerical exercise, right? And we completed the first question. So today let us continue with numerical exercise 1 and question number 2. So let us see what the question says. Two small metal spheres. So here when they say small, you can consider them as point charge. Therefore you can apply Coulomb's law. So two small metal spheres are so charged that they repel each other with a force of 2 into 10 to the power minus 5 Newton. So there are two charges, let us say Q1, Q2, okay, at some distance which they have not mentioned, but they have mentioned that they repel each other with a force which is 2 into 10 power minus 5 Newton. Okay. The charge on one sphere is twice that on the other sphere, meaning one of the charge is twice of the other. So you can write Q2 is twice of Q1. Now they are saying when they are moved 0.1 meter farther apart. So right now what is the distance? We don't know. We have written R. But they are saying when this distance is increased by 0.1 meter. So 0.1 meter is the extra distance. Then what will be the new distance? R plus 0.1 meter. Then you know the force should decrease because force is inversely proportional to square of the distance, right? So when the distance has increased, the force will decrease, and they said the force reduces. Let us call the new force F dash. So the new force is 5 into 10 to the power minus 6 Newton. So this is 10 to the power minus 6, which is less than 10 to the power minus 5. The first part of the question is, what are the charges? So we have to find Q1 and Q2. So Q1 we have to find, okay, and Q2 we have to find. Also, what was the initial separation? So initial separation is R. So initial separation also we have to find. So this is the question which is given. Okay, so this is the given data. So now let us see how do we solve this question. So the force is given between these two point charges. These are small spheres, so we will consider them as point charges. So let us write the formula, Coulomb's law. F equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R square. Medium is not mentioned. When medium is not mentioned, always assume it is air, or you can assume it is vacuum. So I have written epsilon naught. This is your first case. In the second case, what happened? The distance has increased and the force became F dash. So F dash will be equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2. Charges are same only. Okay. The distance is R plus 0.1 whole square. Sometimes this point is not visible. Okay. So let me mark it nicely. Now, how do I solve this? Well, the best way is divide them. So if I call this equation 1 and call this equation 2, then divide equation 2 by 1. So that on the left side, what will you get? F dash divided by F, right? Okay. On the right side, this will cancel with this. This will cancel with this. Yes or no? So in the denominator of F dash, this is there, right? So in the denominator of F dash, what is there? R plus 0.1. Square is there, I know. But in the denominator of F, what is there? R square. So that R square will go in the numerator. So R. Then I will write whole square. Isn't it A square by B square is A by B whole square? So now I know the value of F dash. What is F dash? 2 into 10 to the power minus 5. No. F dash is 5 into 10 to the power minus 6. So be careful, okay? Don't do the mistakes which I am doing. Divided by, what is F? Original force was 2 into 10 to the power minus 5. So to simplify, let me write this 0.5. Then this will become 10 to the power minus 5. That's all. Because it was 5 into 10 power minus 6. So I made 5 smaller. So I should make this number larger. Since it was minus 6, I should make it minus 5. Because it is minus, right? Minus 5 is larger than minus 6. So that will be equal to R divided by R plus 0.1 whole square. Okay. So by doing this simplification, these two will cancel. Right. Now let us see what will we get. So left side will be 0.5 divided by 2 will be 0.25. Okay, 1 minute students. See, in board numericals you are allowed to use calculator, but as much as possible try to do manually. Okay. However, if you feel you are not confident, better to use calculator. The reason is in board exam, sometimes they will give you numbers which are difficult to handle manually. Okay, and if you do approximation, which is good in entrance, you should do approximations in entrance exam. But in board exam, if you do approximations, your answer will also be approximate, and therefore you may not get full marks. So as much as possible, like I try to do it manually. Sometimes when you are not confident, better to use calculator. So 0.5 divided by 2 will be 0.25. On the right side is R divided by R plus 0.1 whole square. So what will be your this quantity now? R divided by R plus 0.1. That will be square root of this. Square root of 0.25 is 0.5, right? If you multiply 0.5 with 0.5, you will get 0.25. Then you cross multiply. R equal to R into 0.5 plus 0.1 into 0.5, 0.05. And if this comes this side, this is 1, this will be minus 0.5. So 1 minus 0.5, 0.5 R equal to 0.05. So R will be, this is how much? 5 into 10 power minus 2. This will come down. This is how much? 5 into 10 power minus 1. So this 5 and 5 will cancel. This will be 0.1 meter. So this is the answer for the second part actually. Now the first part was to find the charges Q1 and Q2. So since R we know now, let us put this R in this equation. Okay, you can make a note, pause the video and make notes. Okay, so now let us substitute that r here. Okay, so equation 1 we know is F equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. And what was F? This, right? 2 into 10 to the power minus 5. This constant is how much value in vacuum? 9 into 10 power 9. Right? Okay. Q1 we don't know. Q2 also we don't know, but we know Q2 is given to be twice of Q1. So if you put here into 2Q1, this will become Q1 square into 2. Divided by R is how much? 0.1 whole square, which will become 0.01. So we write 0.01. Now cross multiply. So Q1 square will be this into this, 2 into 10 power minus 5 into 0.01 divided by this quantities will come in the denominator. So 9 into 2 into 10 to the power 9. So this 2 I can cancel, right? So Q1 square will be 1 by 9 into, see this is 10 to the power minus 2. So 10 to the power minus 2, 10 power minus 5 is 10 power minus 7. Then 9 will go up, minus 9. Minus 7 minus 9 will be minus 16. So 10 power minus 16. Then you have to take square root of this. So Q1 will be, square root of this will be 1 by 3 into 10 power minus, square root of 10 power minus 16 is 10 power minus 8. Because square root means power half. Okay. So if you take power half, 16 by 2 is 8. And 1 divided by 3 will be 0.333 into, or you can add 0.33 into 10 power minus 8 coulomb. So that is the answer for this first part, Q1. But they also asked you to find Q2. But we already know Q2 is twice of Q1. So Q2 is twice of Q1. So 2 times this if you do, you get 0.66 into 10 power minus 8 coulomb. So this completes the solution of question number 2 actually. Okay, this was equation 1. Okay, fine. So please make a note of whatever I've done. Now let us see question number 3. So question number 3 says, two small spherical conductors have same radii. So radii is same. Radii here means plural of radius. Is same and have charges plus 6 microcoulomb and minus 12 microcoulomb. So there are two small spheres. You can treat them as point charges. Distance they have not given. This charge is plus 6 microcoulomb and this charge is minus 12 microcoulomb. They exert a force of 720 Newton on each other. So the force which they exert, what kind of force it will be? Attractive, right? Because it is unlike charges. So F, magnitude will be same, F. And force is given 720 Newton. So the first part is, what is the distance between the conductors? So this R they want. So first part is to find R. Okay. Second part, the two conductors are now, these two conductors are now brought in contact and then kept in the initial position. So after bringing in contact, they are keeping it back here. Then what will be the new force they are asking? So let's do the first part. The first part is quite easy. Force is given, charges we know. So what is the formula for magnitude of the force? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Magnitude of the first charge, magnitude of the second charge. See, actually we should write modulus because we are calculating magnitude. You don't want sign, okay? But every time we don't write modulus, we have to remember that this Q1 and Q2 are magnitude of the charges. divided by r square. So what is the force given? 720. What is this number? 9 into 10 to the power 9. First charge in magnitude is 6 microcoulomb. Micro means 10 power minus 6. Second charge in magnitude, do not write the sign, is 12 into 10 to the power minus 6 divided by r square. Right? So from here r square will be cross multiply 9 into 6 into 12. 9 into 6 into 12 into 10 power minus 6, 10 power minus 6 minus 12. Minus 12, right? Okay, minus 12 plus 9 will be minus 3, right? So it will be 10 power minus 3 divided by the 720. Okay, so this you have to solve. Now you know 9 8s is 72, right? Then you know 4 3s is 12, 4 2s is 8, then 2 3s are 6, 2 10s are 20. So 3 into 3, so r we want, so you have to take square root. So 3 into 3 square root will be 3. This 10 will go up 10 power minus 4. Square root of 10 power minus 4 is 10 power minus 2. So this much is the answer for the distance between the two charges, which you can write 3 centimeter also. Okay. Now second part is more interesting. So in the second part, what they have done, they have uh, in the second part they have brought the two conductors in contact. So try to understand this part better. Okay. So if you try to bring two conductors, okay, in contact, then what will happen is the total charge whatever they have, that will be shared, that will be divided equally among both of them. Now you will ask why. So for that you have to learn the concept of potential, which will be taught in next chapter actually. So for the time being, try to understand it in this way. Since they told both the conductors have same size, same radius, right? So when you bring them in contact, you know that the charge stays where? On the outer surface. So this one and this one have the same surface because their size is same. So their capacity to hold the charge is same. Understood? Because their size is same. Therefore, when you bring them in contact, charge will try to I told you before, the charge will try to go as far as possible. So they will try to spread on this surface also, in this surface also. But since they have same capacity, nature will try to divide the charge among both of them equally. Obviously, if one of them is bigger and another one is smaller, then we will see in the next chapter how the charges will be divided. But right now, try to understand in an easy way that if the two conductors have same radius and when you bring them in contact, then the total charge will be shared equally. So in this problem, what is the total charge? You have to use additivity of charge, remember. So the first charge is plus 6, second charge is minus 12. Okay, algebraic addition you have to do. You are calculating charge. So if one of them is negative, you have to mention that. So that will be how much? Minus 6 microcoulomb. So this total charge will be divided equally. So that means each one will be equal and it will be half of this. So half of this will be minus 3 microcoulomb. So once we have understood that the total charge will be shared equally because they have same radius, now they after contact they have kept them in the initial position. So now what are the charges? Now this is minus 3 microcoulomb and this is also minus 3 microcoulomb. So clearly the force will change and they are asking you to find the force. In fact, even the direction has changed. Before it was attractive, right? Now you see they are like charges. So now the force will be repulsive. It is called the force F dash. So what will be your F dash? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. The new charges Q1, Q2 divided by R square. Right? R is same only. R is like before. So what is the value of this constant? We already know 9 into 10 to the power 9. First charge in magnitude is 3 into 10 power minus 6. Second charge is also 3 into 10 power minus 6 divided by r, and r we got 3 into 10 power minus 2 whole square. Now this 3 square will be 9, that 9, and this 3 into 3 is also 9, that will cancel. So only this 9 will be left. Here minus 2 power 2 is minus 4. Minus 4 will go up plus 4. Plus 4 minus 6 minus 2. Minus 2 minus 6 minus 8. Minus 8 plus 9 1. So it will be 10 to the power 1, which means answer is 90 Newton, and it will be now repulsive. Before it was attractive. Okay, so this easily we have seen that how to solve it. Let us now see question number 4. So you can read the question in the meantime. So what does question number 4 say? Okay, so let us see quickly. Two similarly equally charged identical metal spheres A and B repel each other with a force of 2 into 10 power minus 5 Newton. So again, there are two small identical spheres, okay, and each one has equal, similar and equal charge. Okay, so both are Q, and right now obviously they will repel like charges, and the force is 2 into 10 power minus 5 Newton. Now they are saying a third identical uncharged sphere. Third identical, matlab radius is same as both of them. Let us call this A, let us call this B. So another sphere is there, C, which is uncharged. So when I say uncharged, right now the charge of this sphere is 0. Is touched with A. So this is touched with A, and then placed at the midpoint of the line AB here. Calculate the net force on this body they are asking. So first what we will do, this was the force for these two charges, right? So let us write the formula. Force is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q into q. So q square divided by distance is r square. 2 into 10 power minus 5. Equation 1. Right now we cannot do anything, right? Now when you will take this third sphere and you will touch here. So third sphere had how much charge? 0. And sphere A had how much charge? Q. So what will happen? I told they are identical. So the total charge will be shared equally because they are identical. Their radius is same. Their capacity is same. So total charge is how much? Q plus 0 will be Q. That will be divided equally. So after contact, C will have charge Q by 2. A will have charge Q by 2. And this A is kept, A is there only, right? See what you have done. You have taken the third conductor, you have touched here. When you touch it, this will happen. Then you are keeping it here. So let me draw the next diagram. So this is your C. And that time this will be charged Q by 2 and this will become Q by 2. Okay. So now we have to find force on charge C. Now C will feel force from whom? C will feel force from A also and from B also. So we need to use superposition principle. Okay. So this is also plus plus plus, right? So C will be repelled by A. So this force is on C by A. And C will be repelled by B also. So this is force on C by B. Many students will say, oh sir, they are opposite. So net force is 0. That is not true. It cannot be 0 because, see, this force is between which charges? C and B. Now the product of the charges for C and B is Q into Q by 2. This is force on C by A, and for this the product of the charges is Q by 2 Q by 2, which is small. Q into Q by 2 is small, right? So since this product is more than this product, this force will be greater than this force. So the net force on C will be, since they are in opposite direction, according to your vector addition rule, if two vectors are in opposite direction A and B, then the resultant magnitude is A minus B. So here which one is bigger? FCB is bigger. So FCB minus FCA. Now let's use Coulomb's law. So CB means between C and B, right? So 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Charge on C is Q by 2. Charge on the second body is B, Q, divided by this distance. Now this I have written R. So this will be how much? R by 2. So R by 2 square minus. This is force between C and A. So use Coulomb's law. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Charge on C, Q by 2. Charge on A is also Q by 2. Divided by, this is into, okay, divided by this distance, which is also R by 2. So R by 2 square. Right? It's visible, right? Let me slightly adjust. Okay. So let's see what will come now. So this is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Q into Q will be Q square divided by. This is 1 by 4. This is 2. This 4 will go up. 4 divided by 2 will be 2 here. Into R square. And here it will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q into Q, Q square divided by, this is 4, 2 into 2 is 4, 4 and 4 will cancel, R square. So here if you see, if you take Q square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R square common, here what is left? 2, here what is left? 1. So 2 minus 1 is 1. This will be 1. So this is the net force on C. But this we already know here, see. So this is how much? 2 into 10 power minus 5. So the answer is 2 into 10 power minus 5 Newton from here. Okay. So that is the answer for the fourth question. So this is how easily we can solve problems by making use of Coulomb's law and superposition principle. Okay. And here we have also learned that when two spherical conductors of same radius are brought in contact, the total charge will be shared equally. Okay. So next let us see. So home exercises are there. Please do the home exercises. I have given hints also. Okay. So you can read the hints. First you try to solve yourself. If you don't understand, if you are not getting the answer, then see the hints and then try. Okay. So Coulomb's law in vector form I have done. Continuous charge distribution we'll do solve later. So now we will start with numerical exercise 2. Numerical exercise 2. Question number 1. Okay, so let us read the question. Charges of plus 5 microcoulomb, plus 10 microcoulomb and minus 10 microcoulomb are placed at the corners ABC of an equilateral triangle. So equilateral triangle we draw first. Write them ABC. Okay. Now the charge on A here is plus 5 microcoulomb. Charge on B is plus 10 microcoulomb and charge on C is minus 10 microcoulomb. Each side has a length of 5 centimeter. So 5 centimeter. Okay. So you have to convert into meter, and then they are asking determine the net force on 5 microcoulomb at A. So this 5 microcoulomb. So again we have to make use of superposition principle, right? So you know that this charge is surrounded by these two charges. So this will feel force because of this will feel force because of this, right? Okay. So let us draw the direction. These two are like charges. So this will feel force along the line joining the charges and it will be repulsive. So this is force on A by B. Okay, similarly, this will be attracted to this along the line joining them. So it will be like this. This will be force on A by C. So these are the directions. Let us now write the magnitude. So force on A by B. Okay. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Charges here is, flip it first at formula. Charge at A, charge at B divided by distance between A and B. I can directly write AB whole square. Right? AB is this distance, R square. Now let us put values. This is 9 into 10 power 9. Charge A is 5 microcoulomb. So 5 into 10 power minus 6. Charge at B 10 microcoulomb. 10 into 10 power minus 6 divided by AB. This distance is 5 centimeter. So 5 centimeter means 5 into 10 power minus 2 meter. Then I have to write whole square. You have to convert everything in SI units because the value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught which you have written here is in SI units, remember. Okay. So let us now calculate. So this 5 square will be 25. Then 5 divided by 25 will be 5 here. So it will be 9 by 5 into minus 2, 10 power minus 2 whole square will be 10 power minus 4. Minus 4 will go up plus 4. Plus 4 minus 6 minus 2. Minus 2 minus 6 minus 8. Right? Yes or no? This minus 2 will minus 4, right? So this minus 4 will go up plus 4, sorry. Plus 4 minus 6 minus 2. Minus 2 minus 6 minus 8. Minus 8. Then this is 10. This is 10 power 9. So power 10. So it will be 2. So 10 power. So this will be 5 ones are 5, right? Then how much carry? 4. Yes or no? 5 ones are 5. Then 4 carry. 4, 5, 8s are 40. So this will be 180 Newton. Let us check once, okay? Sometimes we may do mistakes, so better to check once. Charge at A was 5 microcoulomb, so 5 into 10 power minus 6. Charge at B is 10 microcoulomb, 10 into 10 power minus 6. This distance is 5 centimeter, so 5 into 10 power minus 2 meter, whole square. Then this is 25, 5 divided by 25 will be 5, so 9 by 5 I wrote here. Then minus 2 whole square is minus 4, minus 4 will go up plus 4, plus 4 minus 6, minus 2, minus 2 minus 6, minus 8. Then this is 9, this is 10. So 10, 10 minus 8, 2. So 10 power 2. And 9 by 5 is 5 ones are 5, 4 carry, 5 8s are 40. So 180 Newton. Similarly, what will be the force on this force now I want? Force on A by C. See, if you write the formula, no problem. But you know that this charge and this charge magnitude is same as this charge and this charge magnitude because we have to write here magnitude only, right? Modulus. So this will be also 10 only. And distance here was 5. Distance here is also 5. So the answer will be exactly same. So once we know that these two forces have same magnitude, now you have to know the angle between them. Now this angle is how much? That angle is 120 degree because this is 60 degree. Right? It is equilateral triangle. So resultant force, you have to use vector addition law. So root over first vector. Let us say both of them are x and x. Then what is the formula? X square plus 2xx cos of 120. That will be root of x square plus 2x square cos 120 is minus half. 2 will cancel. Then minus x square plus x square will also cancel, and root of x square will be what? Simply x. And that you already have shown that this x, I've already assumed this 180 is what? X, right? So I can write here directly 180 Newton. So this is something which you already know actually, right? When two forces or two vectors have same magnitude and the angle between them is 120 degree. See here both of them have same magnitude. This is also 180, this is also 180. Then the resultant will also have same magnitude, which is 180. Now if they ask direction, then you make this parallelogram, right? Then the diagonal will give you the resultant force, this Fr. Okay, and since you know these two are equal in magnitude, the resultant will bisect this 120 degree. That means it will be at 60 degree with this force. So if they ask direction of the resultant force, you can say it is at 60 degree with the force FAC, or you can say 60 degree with force FAB also. It is the same thing. So this is the first question. It's quite easy if you know how to add vectors. Let us now see the next question. So the next question says ABC is a right angled triangle. So this time they have given you right angled triangle. Okay, so let us draw a right angled triangle. Okay, it is isosceles also. How do I know? Because they have said AB is 3 meter, BC is 3 meter, and angle at B is 90 degree. So this is 90 degree, so they are saying angle at B. So this point must be B. Okay, angle at B is 90 degree. And this is A, this is C. This distance is given 3 meter. This distance is also 3 meter. Now, charges of 9 microcoulomb are kept at the corners. So here 9 microcoulomb, here also 9 microcoulomb, and here also 9 microcoulomb. They want you to find force on charge at B here. So you have to find force here. So same technique, okay, same technique you have to apply. First find the direction. So all are like charges. So this will be repelled by this along this line, joining the charges. So this is force on B by C. Then this will be repelled by this also along this line. So this is force on B by C. Okay, so let us calculate the magnitude now. So this will be, let me use red color, okay? Clarity will be nice, right? So FBC will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught charge at B, charge at C divided by distance between B and C. I can write BC square. So in both numericals, you have to write the formula. Otherwise, they don't. Sometimes they don't correct also. So better to write the formula. Now, this constant we know already. This is 9 into 10 to the power 9. Charge at B is 9 microcoulomb. So 9 into 10 power minus 6. Charge at C is also 9 microcoulomb divided by BC. Now BC is 3 meter. If you square it, it will be 9. So this 9 and 1 9 can cancel. So 9 into 9 is 81 into 10 to the power. This is minus 6 minus 12 plus 9 will be minus 3 Newton. Now this is the force on B by C. I calculated this force. Okay, what did I do? This is force on B by A actually. So this is force on B by C. So this I calculated first. Now I want this force in magnitude. So this will be C. See, the values will be same because 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught will be there. Charge at B, charge at C divided by distance between B and, sorry, this is B and A. So the charge at B, charge at A divided by distance between B and A square. Now you see, this charge at B is same as this charge at B. Charge at A is same as charge at C, and this distance BC was 3. This distance BA is also 3. So if you calculate, same answer will come. 81 into 10 power minus 3 Newton. Right? For simplicity, let us call this X and this also X. Now I want resultant force. So you have to draw this parallelogram, which will be square now, because these two magnitudes of the vectors represent the length of the vectors. So these two have same magnitude. So the diagonal will be here, Fr. Right? So resultant force will be root of first vector is x. Second vector also has same magnitude, x. Plus, if you write that 2 into x cos of what? Angle between this vector and this vector. This vector and this vector, what is the angle? 90 degree. 90 degree. So cos 90. And cos 90 we know is 0. Right? So this quantity will be 0. So root of x square plus x square will be what? Root 2x. And x we already know, 81 into 10 power minus 3 Newton. Okay, root 2 is 1.414. Use your calculator and multiply and get the answer. Okay. Now, if you want to know the direction, then you have to give either this angle or this angle. So let us give this angle. Let us call this angle alpha. Then this tan of alpha you calculate. So what is the opposite side of this triangle, right angle triangle? This is same as this. And this vector is, what is the length of this vector? Magnitude, FBC. FBC. And adjacent of this triangle is this side, which is FBA. But we know both of the vectors have same magnitude, XX. So this will cancel 1. And if tan of angle is 1, angle must be how much? 45 degree. So this will give you direction of the resultant force, which means the resultant force makes angle alpha with this force, FBA. And that angle is 45 degree. Okay, try the same problem at home, and instead of finding force on this, find force on this. Okay, let me help you. Force on this by this will be repulsive here, and force on this by this will be repulsive here. And this angle you need to find, this angle. And you know, since opposite side and adjacent side are same, so this must be 45 degree. So this will be also 45 degree. But you need to calculate these two forces separately, because now this force on C by A will be different from force on C by B, because this distance is different from this distance. Okay, so try to do that part yourself and let me know whether you can find the answer or not. So again, see, you must have realized that you should be very strong in adding vectors. Okay, so if you have confusion in that, please let me know so that I can revise that in next video. Now we have to do the last question of this numerical exercise. Four equal charges are each of 16 microcoulomb are placed at the corners of a square. So this time they have given you square, and here there is charge 16 microcoulomb, here also 16 microcoulomb, here also 16 microcoulomb, here also 16 microcoulomb. All are like charges. And the side of the square is 0.2 meter. This is also 0.2 meter. They want you to find magnitude, only magnitude they are asking, of the force between the of the force on any one charge. So let us choose this charge. If you choose this charge, then first thing is to draw the direction. Right? So if I call this A, B, C, D. Then force on D by C. This will be repulsive here. Force on D by C. Force on D by B. That will be also repulsive along this line, but force on D by B. Then you also have to find force on D by A. A will feel bad, okay? Don't neglect A. So that will be along this line. And that will be like this. Force on D by A. Now, before you solve, try to think whose magnitude will be same. This and this will have same magnitude. Because this product of the charges is same. This distance and this distance is same. So just calculate FDC. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught charge at D, charge at C divided by distance between D and C square. Now you know this value is 9 into 10 to the power 9. Charge at D is 16 microcoulomb. So 16 into 10 power minus 6 into charge at C is also 16 microcoulomb, 10 to the power minus 6, divided by distance between D and C, 0.2 meter. So it will be 2 into 10 power minus 1 square. Right? I can write 0.2 meter as 2 into 10 power minus 1. Right? Then you have to do whole square. Okay, so this will be 2 square will be 4. 16 divided by 4 will be 4. So 9 into 4 into 16. Am I right? 16 divided by 4 here will be 4. Then this 16. Then this 9. Into minus 12 plus 9 minus 3. This minus 1 power 2 will be minus 2. That will go plus 2. So this will be 10 power minus 1. Okay. So this again 9 fours is 36. So 36 into 16 if you do, you will get 576. Okay, 576 into 10 power minus 1 will be 57.6 Newton. So please use calculator if you don't have time to calculate it manually. So this is the force on D by C. What will be the force on D by B? Same. Why same? Charges are same, distance is also same. This distance and this distance are same. So 57.6 Newton. Now I have to find force on this charge, D charge by A charge. Students, I'll tell you now only, it will be half of this. Okay, why it will be half of this? This is 0.2, this is 0.2. What will be this distance? This is hypotenuse. From Pythagoras theorem, it will be root of 0.2 square plus 0.2 square. That will be root 2 0.2 meter. Root 2 into 0.2 meter. So this distance will be root 2 into, if we write it larger, so this distance will be right here, 0.2 root 2 meter. This distance. Pythagoras theorem, simple. Okay. So let me mention this here. Okay. So this force is 57.6. Okay. So now I want to find force on D by A. So this is D by A. So this will be charge at A. dA. Look carefully. This is how much? 9 into 10 power 9. Charge at D, 16 microcoulomb. Charge at A, 16 microcoulomb. Divided by dA whole square. Now dA is 0.2 root 2 whole square. That will be, this will be how much? 0. See, already we wrote 0.2 before, how? 2 into 10 power minus 1. So 2 into 10 power minus 1 root 2 square. Now look carefully. This will be 4 into 10 power minus 2 and this will be into 2 once you take the square. Now this will be 4 4 is 16. Now if you see, except this 2, everything else is same like before only. So this will be 57.6 divided by 2. This should be 2 2s are 4, 2 8s are 16, 2 8s are 16. Okay, and that makes sense also because this distance is larger than this distance by how many times? By root 2 times, right? Since force is inversely proportional to distance square, so the force will become 1 by root 2 square, which is 1 by 2 times the initial force between these two, because these charges are same as these charges. So charges are same, but this distance is larger than this distance by root 2 times. It is more root 2 times. So the force will be less 1 by root 2 square times. Why square? Because the force is inversely proportional to square. So that way for entrance exam, you can do like this quick calculation. That if this is F, this is also F. And this is F by 2. Fine. So we now know the magnitudes of each force, right? And this is 57.6. No need to write like this in board exam, okay? This one is just for my sake. So once we have found the three forces, now what will we do? Now we have to add the three forces. The best way is add this and this first. So if I add those two, resultant will be root of, now see this, if I say this is, see, FDC square plus this one is FDB square. No need to write plus 2AB cos theta because angle between this and this is 90 degree, right? See, yes or no? So that is no need. Now this is 57.6, this is also 57.6. So this will be root 2 into 57.6 Newton. Okay. Now where will be this resultant force? The resultant of these two will be along this diagonal and it will bisect the angle. And since this is already along the bisector, the resultant of this and this will be also here itself, FR. So this FR is the resultant of this and this. So now I have to add this FR with the third force. Which is the third force? This one, where it is in the same direction. So the net force on charge B will be net, let me write. These two vectors are in same direction, and when two vectors A and B are in same direction, resultant is A plus B. So it will be FR plus FDA. No need to use root formula, okay, if they are in the same direction. Now what is FR? FR is root 2 into 57.6 plus, what is FDA? 28.8. So take your calculator, multiply this number with this number first. Okay, don't add these two. I have seen many students do like that. So don't add these two first because you have to use both mass, right? So first multiplication, whatever you get, then you add with this. So that will be your answer. So students, you have seen that today's class was mostly based on numericals. Okay, so I know sometimes numericals becomes slightly boring, but then the point is only when you do numericals, then whatever concepts you have learned, that will sink, that will stay in your mind. Okay, so please don't be scared of numericals. Aram se like this, apply basic knowledge, whatever way you want to cancel them, aram se you do. Don't take tension, and you are given calculators also. So at the end, you can use calculator and get the answer. So now, I would like to do some entrance topics before I continue with the syllabus. And one of the entrance topics, so whenever I do entrance topic, I put this hashtag. So when I write hashtag, it means whatever will follow will be for only entrance examinations and all. Okay, it's not for board exams. So the question that I'm going to ask you, very interesting, is this. Suppose I have 2 point charges Q1, Q2 at some distance r, and the force between them, F, repulsive force, is You know already, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 divided by r square. Okay. Now I am saying to you, I take a sphere, conductors, okay. The centers of the spheres are at the same distance r. Okay. The centers are also at r distance. And whatever charge was here, let me say I keep here same charge q1, and here I put same charge here q2. My question is, whatever is the force of repulsion between these two spheres, if I call it F dash, then what will be this F dash? Will it be F? Will it be less than F? Will it be greater than F? Or data is insufficient? Don't say the fourth one, okay? So how do we solve this? Now, if you think of gravitation chapter, so there, if you take Earth, which is solid sphere, and apple is outside, then while using the law of gravitation, we write g, mass of Earth, mass of apple divided by r square, and that r we measure from where? Center to center. Yes or no? So if you think the same thing you can do here. So this is the charge q1. So let us try to write f dash. Okay, so let us think that we can do the same thing as we did in gravitation chapter. So here 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So this is charge q1. This charge is q2, same as these two, divided by center to center. Now this center to center is given same as this. So ask, if you write like this, then what will you see? F dash is same as f. But students, this is only true when the two spheres are very far. If they are very far, then you can consider the charges to be concentrated at its center. But in the problem, I am saying to you that this is only true if r is very large compared to size of sphere. Or you can say the spheres are very, very, very small. Okay, so if these spheres are very, very small, then they will also act like point charge only. Then the answer will be same. But I am telling you in this problem that r is not very large. Okay, so this r is not very large. Then I will show you now that this f dash is not equal to f. Why? Because see, masses come in only one flavor, positive. Okay, so that's it. But charges comes in two flavors, positive and negative. So this body inside has positive negative charge, this body has positive negative charge. So when they are far, you may have put charges q1 q2 uniformly, but the moment you bring them at a near distance, then what will happen? Induction, which I taught you in the first video. So this plus charge will push plus charges here, that's it. Okay, this extra plus charges, that's it. So what will happen is the plus charges will concentrate here more, and here it will be less concentrated. Similarly, this plus charges which was there will push this plus charges far, so it will be more concentrated here. So since the plus charges are more concentrated this side, the center of the distribution of the positive charge, that will be not here, it will be somewhere here. It's like center of mass. Wherever more mass is there, center of mass will shift that side. So wherever more charge is concentrated, the center of the charge will shift here. Similarly, the center of charge of this distribution of charge will be shifted that side. So now you can see the distance between the centers of the charges, the centers of the distribution of charges, is not same as this r. It's not same as this center to center. See, this is the center of the body, which is called geometric center. This is the center of the charge. which will shift wherever more charge is. So you can see this R dash is greater than this R. Right here I should have written R dash. So if R dash is greater than R, force will be less than F. So this force will be less than this force. So I hope you understood. In case of charges, when you bring two uh, solid spheres and you put positive charge on them, uniformly it will distribute when they don't interact. But when you bring them close, they will interact with each other such that the charges here will push the positive charges far side, and this charges, positive charges, will push this positive charges that side. Okay. So as a homework, try to think about same question, but what if I give this is plus q1 and this is minus q2, and then I tell you the same question. Okay, I take two metal spheres, and when they were not very close, I have distributed charge uniformly, plus q1, and here minus q2. Okay, now when I bring them close and ask you what will be the force between them. See, this is q1, this is q1, this is minus q2, this is minus q2. The center of this and the center of this is also at the same distance as r. This is also r. So my question to you is, will the force attractive force, now it will be attractive, right? Unlike charges. So will the attractive force now be same as this one in magnitude? So try to think and let me know the answer in the comment. Okay. Fine. So this is one topic I wanted to cover. Now let us see the exam corner. Sorry, entrance corner. Or is it exam corner? Let me check. Yes, it is entrance corner 2. Entrance corner 2. Okay. So question number 1. Find the SI unit of permittivity. Very simple. We know force is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, which is called permittivity. Q1 Q2 by R square. Since you want SI unit of permittivity, cross multiply. So epsilon naught will come here, force will come here. So the SI unit will be what? Coulomb. This is charge, so Coulomb square. This is Newton. This is meter. So this will be Coulomb square per Newton per meter. Option A. Okay. So let's see the next one. Find the dimension of permittivity. So next question is to find dimension of permittivity. Dimension of permittivity. Now for that you have to know how to write dimension of charge. Now we know that in SI system current is taken to be fundamental quantity, not charge. So how is current defined? Though current will be discussed in third chapter, you know from school level physics that current is rate of flow of charge. So it is charge per time. So what will be charge current into time? So dimension of charge will be, dimension of current we write as A, same as its unit ampere, and dimension of t we write time, we write capital T. So this is how we write dimension of charge. So here we need dimension of epsilon naught. So this is charge. So it will be AT, right? Okay. Now this is force. Force is mass into acceleration. So it will be mass is m, acceleration we write L t minus 2. These are all first PU concepts. Okay, so please revise. And r is distance, so L. So this m will go up, m power minus 1, L into L square, that will go up, L power minus 2, t power minus 2 will go up, t power plus 2, and t into t is t square, so t power 4. Because t and this t power minus 2 will go up, t power plus 2. And then a will be a power 2. So this is the dimension of permittivity. You can check which option it is, right? So let me check the option equivalence. I lost the page actually, so it matches with which option. I need to find it because I have to see the next question also, option C. Okay. Now the third question says the force between two point charges is given by F. So the force between 2 point charges is given by F. Now what they are doing is they are doubling the charges. Each charge is doubled and the distance between them is tripled. What will happen to the force they are asking? Question number 3. So we know force is proportional to product of charges and inversely proportional to square of distance, right? So let us use the concept of proportionality. Answer will come very fast. So you know this is doubled 2 times. This is also doubled. And this is tripled. R is tripled, okay, R. So the force will be, how many times it will increase? F dash C. This is double, so there will be 2 into 2, 4 in the numerator. R is tripled, but this is R square. This square is not for decoration. Okay, so since it's R square, if you triple R, if you increase R 3 times, then R square will become 9 times in the denominator part. So the force will be 4 by 9 times the old force. So this way if you do, your answer will come very fast. Let us see the next question. 4 charges 1 microcoulomb are kept at the corners of a square. 4 charges of 1 microcoulomb are kept at the corners. 1 microcoulomb, 1 microcoulomb, 1 microcoulomb, 1 microcoulomb. Now they are asking, find the net force on a charge 1 nanocoulomb kept at the center of the square. Center means wherever the diagonals will intersect. So here, if I keep 1 nanocoulomb, what will be the force? We already know the answer. There is symmetry, right? And we have seen before that the force on this charge will be 0. Right? Because, see, this will be repelled by this, F. This will be also repelled by this, F. And magnitude will be same because this product of charges and this product of charges are same. This distance and this distance are same. So force depends on what? Product of charges and distance. So if product of charges and distance are same, force also will be same. So this force and this force are same, but they are opposite, so they will cancel. Similarly, force between this and this, repulsive. Force between this and this, repulsive. That will also cancel. So resultant force will be 0. Now let us see the which number? Fifth question. The force between two charges Q1 and Q2 is found to be 10 Newton. When a third charge Q3 is brought near the two charges, what will now be the force between Q1 and Q2? This also we have discussed already. So there is Q1, there is Q2. Force between 1 and 2 is 10 Newton according to the question. Now if you bring charge Q3, I know this Q3 will also apply force on both Q2 and Q1. So net force will change, no doubt. Net force will change. Resultant force will change. But they are asking force on Q2 by Q1. And we know from superposition principle that force on one charge by another charge is independent of third charge. Okay, so the force between Q2 and Q1 will be same as before. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. So the force in the presence of third charge will also be 10 Newton. Okay. See, resultant force will change, right? That's what we have done in all these problems. We have calculated the resultant force. But they are saying force on Q2 by Q1. That will not depend on Q3. Is it clear? Okay, so those who have not understood, think of this. This is A, this is B, this is C. These two apply force on each other, which depends on what? Magnitude of the charges, distance between them. Now, whether this is there or not there, magnitude of the charges and distance between them will not change, right? So, whether this is there or not there, force between these two will remain same. Yes, resultant force, see, if this is not there, force on this will be only because of this. But if this is there, then force on this will be also because of this. So if somebody says find the resultant force, that will change. But if they ask force on B by A, that will remain same. Question number 6 is a very good question. So try to keep a note of question number 6. So in question number 6, what is happening is there is a charge plus capital Q which is fixed, and another charge minus small q is moving in elliptical orbit. Okay, so there is one charge plus capital Q, and this should be kept fixed. And another charge is going in elliptical orbit. Minus Q charge. So this is very much like your Kepler's first law. Okay, this is like your sun, this is like your planet. It is going in elliptical orbit. They are asking us to tick the correct statement. To tick the correct statement. So first statement is linear momentum of the charge minus q. Linear momentum of this charge is conserved, they are saying. Now for this you have to go to first PU concept. When is momentum conserved? Momentum is conserved when net external force is 0. Very clearly we know this plus capital Q will apply force on minus small q along the line joining. So if this is going to feel external force, that means its momentum has to change. So first option is wrong. Momentum is not conserved because it is feeling a force. So its velocity, therefore momentum will keep changing. Understood? Second part is saying angular speed is constant. So that we are not sure right now. Okay, directly you may not be able to think. If you are able to think, very good. Third one, since you are not able to decide, let us go with the third one. So third one says the linear speed of the charge minus q is constant. Speed is constant. This is pakka wrong. Why? See, it is moving in elliptical orbit. So we know when it comes nearby, its speed will be faster. And when it is far, its speed will be less, slower. So speed is not constant because it is moving in elliptical orbit. So third option is wrong. Fourth option is saying angular momentum is conserved. Conserved in physics means constant. But you must be remembering that whenever you talk about angular momentum, torque, you need to talk about which point. So here they are saying angular momentum about plus q is conserved. So to decide this, you have to check law of conservation of angular momentum. Okay. So when is momentum conserved? When net external force is 0. When is angular momentum conserved? Angular momentum is conserved when external torque is 0. So we have to check the torque on this charge because of this force about this charge. Because they are asking angular momentum about this point. Right? So if you want to know angular momentum about this point is conserved or not, you have to check torque about this point is 0 or not 0. Okay, so torque we have to check. So to find torque, let us quickly revise how to calculate torque. So imagine there is a force F which acts at some point in a body, and I want torque about this point. So if you want to calculate torque, this is the symbol about which point O, let us say, then the formula is R perpendicular into force. How do you calculate R perpendicular? Extend the line of force. Then you drop a perpendicular. Okay, perpendicular. And this is called R perpendicular. Okay, let me write properly. R perpendicular. So multiply this distance with this force, you will get torque about O. As an example, see, imagine this is this pen. Now if I keep this point fixed and I apply force like this, then you see this pen will rotate about this point, right? So the force into the perpendicular distance between the line of force and this point is called torque. If you apply force perpendicular itself, if you apply force like this about this point, then this itself is your R perpendicular. This is your force, this is R perpendicular. But here I am showing you that no matter in what direction you apply force, you can calculate torque by simply extending the line of force and then dropping a perpendicular from the line of force to the point, or from the point to the line of force. Now in this problem you come, we want to check torque about this point, about plus Q. Which is the only force acting on minus Q? This force. Now this force is passing through this point, right? So imagine if this force was not here, but it was passing through this point, then what will be your torque? It will be 0. Why? Because there is no R perpendicular. Understood? There is no R perpendicular, right? Because the force is passing through this point itself. So if there is a pen which can rotate about this point and you apply force here itself, then this pen is not going to rotate. So there is no turning effect of force. So we came to know that torque is 0 about plus Q. Why? Because the force is passing through this point. And that property of force is called what property? Central force. So since the electrostatic force between point charges is central force, there is no torque of this force about this charge. And since torque on this is 0, it means angular momentum will be constant. So this is the right answer. Angular momentum about plus Q is constant. Now question is, sir, what about this? You have not decided. See, now we can decide. We came to know that angular momentum is constant. Now I hope you remember angular momentum is also given by I times omega. I is moment of inertia of this particle and we are calculating about this point. So moment of inertia will be mr square, where this distance will be r. Now, is this r fixed? No, because the path is elliptical. So this r keeps on changing. And if this changes, this also should change, because the product should be constant. Understood, right? 4 into 2 is 8. But if I make this 2, then this must also change, because the product should be constant. So that means omega will change, angular speed will change. But here they told constant, so this option is also dropped. Is it clear, students? Okay. Fine. So remaining questions we'll be doing in the next video. Now I would like to answer one doubt which was asked by one of my student. Okay, Naveen. Okay, so he asked me a very good question, and the question is, I told you that if you have two charges Q1, Q2 in vacuum, then the force between them is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1, Q2 by R square. And I told you that the force on this by this will not depend on the presence of other charges. Resultant force will change, but force on this by this will not change. Then I told you, if you keep medium here, then the force between them in medium is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught epsilon r q1 q2 by r square. Yes or no? This quantity is what we call epsilon, right? So his doubt was, sir, you told that the force on this by this will not depend on other charges. So when this medium is there, why is the force changing? So good question. Actually, students, to understand this, why it has changed, you need to go very much deeper into the analysis, the atomic analysis of this force, and that is very difficult. Okay, you can read about this in Google also. You can do some research. You will find that the answer is not direct. However, when you go to research level, then what actually happens is this. See, this medium is made up of what? Atoms, right? Atoms. Everywhere atoms. And these atoms have positive charge and negative charge. So suddenly when you keep this charge, these atoms here they will get polarized. Polarized means what I told last time. If this is atom, then usually in atom what is there is a nucleus and there is this electron cloud. Electron cloud. When you bring another plus charge nearby, then what happens? This plus charge will attract the electron cloud so far this side, little bit this side, and plus will be slightly repelled. But plus is very heavy, right? So it will not go so much. So after you bring this, see when this plus charge is not there, this is how it looks. When this plus charge is there, this will be slightly displaced here. And this is how the shift of the electron cloud will occur. So this shifting of this cloud, this shifting of this electron cloud will in a way, surround this charge. And same thing happens here also. Okay, so negative charges will come nearer, positive charges will be outside. Similarly, here negative charges will come nearer, positive charges will be outside. And the analysis of this will be done mathematically by using Maxwell's equations. Okay, there is a book which I used to study called Electrodynamics by J.D. Jackson. J.D. Jackson. Okay, it's one of the most difficult book, but very very nice. Okay, so there you will do lot of tensor analysis and many things you will do using Maxwell's equations. But the point is to make things simple. This charge, when it will look this charge, it will not see now Q2 because it will see Q2 surrounded by other charges and all. So basically what happens, the charge this will see for this will slightly reduce, will be Q2 by some quantity, and that quantity which obviously will depend on the nature of the medium, and that quantity is what we call epsilon r. And similarly when this charge will see this charge, okay, the charge, this charge will see this charge heading will be slightly reduced. But at any given time when you will find force on this charge by this charge, okay, so that time it will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by epsilon r by r square. Okay, so this polarization of charges which this charge will do in this medium basically creates something called bound charges, induced charges. Okay, and the induced charges created here, okay, will affect the charge which this one will see. It will not affect its own charge. That's why only in one of the charge it will be affected, not on both the charge. Okay, so that is how the formula comes out. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught epsilon r q1 q2 by r square. So this is how the force on q1 by q2 in the actual sense actually remains same. But because of the presence of the medium, there will be some distortion, some disturbances created in the distribution of the charge surrounding this charge and this charge. And that creates the whole trouble of calculating the force. But the good thing is the people who have done research has already done all these things. And we just need to remember that if the space where these two charges are kept is surrounded everywhere, if it is infinitely spread out, if it is infinitely spread out, then the force between these two can be simply found by writing epsilon r and with epsilon naught. Okay, so don't get confused, no need to worry so much about this part. Then another student was asking what will happen if, for example, this is charge q1 and this is charge q2, and what happens if I put some medium only here, then what will happen? Okay, so let us say this is plus q1 right now, this is minus q1. So this question is also there in one of the books called Krutov, one of the famous book for physics. Okay, so those who are preparing for JEE Advanced, you can see this book. So initially, when this medium was not there, let us say the attraction, the force was F, attractive force was F. This is also attracting, this is also attracting, right? Now, if I keep a medium here like this, some dielectric medium, then the force between these two, or the force on this now, or force on this, will it be more than this, or will it be less than this, or will it be equal to this? So again, calculation wise, it is almost impossible. Okay, however, we can um, uh, do one induction technique. So basically, what happens? Look carefully. So this plus q1, as I told, there are many atoms here, right? So this plus q1 will attract the negative charges in the atoms. Little in all the atoms. So in all the atoms, if negative charges will slightly displace this side, then this side will become negative and this side will become positive. Okay, so if you want to understand this in detail, see each atom you analyze like this. Think of each atom like this. Okay, so this minus is actually on top of plus because it is neutral. Then when this plus q1 will come here, all this minus will be slightly attracted. So this minus will come here little bit. This minus will come here. 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 So same thing will happen here also. So if you see this part, it is still neutral. But you can see this side is negative and this side is positive. So this is called polarization. So when this happens, now to find the force on this, resultant force, okay, resultant force. So this will feel force because of this minus q2, attractive force. And that force will be, same I told you, that will not depend on any third charge. So this was attracted to this by what force before? F. So this will be F only. But now, because this minus charge is here, that will also attract, okay, that will also, let me call this F1. And this plus charge will repel this. So let me call this F2, repel. Now my question is it visible? F1, F2? I hope so. So my question is, F1 is bigger or F2 is bigger? Well, minus charge is nearer to plus Q1. And this is the force because of minus. So therefore, we know F1 is bigger than F2. Since F1 is bigger than F2, resultant of F1 and F2 will be which side? This side only, right? So, besides this force, there will be another force. I can call it F dash, which comes because of the induction, because of these induced charges. And these charges which are formed on the ends of this dielectric medium, these are called in physics bound charge. So these charges will also exert force on this charge, the charges which are formed on the sides of the dielectric. And from whatever we have analyzed, we have seen that the attraction will be more. So since attraction will be more, already it was attracting, right? So it will add with this attraction, and therefore the force now will be greater than the force before. Okay, so try to make a note of this. Okay, again students, this is little advanced. Okay, you have to have a little bit of experience, but as we keep studying later chapters, we are going to study how medium affects forces and electric fields. So that time this will be even more simple. Okay, so before I stop, let me give you one homework to think. Okay, so imagine both are plus, then it will be repulsive FF, right? And let us call this force as F. Okay, force between these two. Now, keeping these two charges in the same place, I will put a dielectric medium, some insulating medium, maybe glass rod or something. Now you have to tell the force on this or on this, your wish, resultant force. That will be more than this, less than this, or equal. Okay, and I will tell you that Q1 is greater than Q2. So this you need. Without this, you will not be able to answer. So try this question and let me know. Okay, thank you so much.